I'm here with Adrian Kelly, who's the author of The Success Complex. Could you just magically make that appear on screen in front of you, Adrian?
Absolutely. Here we go.
Oh,
I'll commence slower. How about that?
yeah,
Slow-mo.
wonderful. Yeah, slow-mo book movement, marvelous. So Adrian is one of the 22 Practical Inspiration authors shortlisted for this year's Business Book Awards. So I'm taking the opportunity just to have a short conversation with each of them, find out a little bit more about the story behind the book. So welcome, Adrian. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Alison. Delighted to be here.
And I guess that's the first question. Tell us why you wrote The Success Complex.
For sure. Well, I started my career as a criminal solicitor, actually. And there's no greater example in terms of a career of decisions in people's lives and where it can lead them, and sometimes not very good places. So it was always a question that intrigued me in terms of skills we might acquire in life and decisions we make, which form a direction. And I thought that was really a worthwhile starting place. I'm currently doing a master's degree in performance psychology at University in Wales, and there's a lot of great performance psychology and behavioral science information out there which isn't readily accessible by the public. And so I wanted to make this book seem very accessible, well, it is accessible, and very familiar to people through storytelling, basically. So each chapter has a story, everything from Napoleon to NASA to World War II to Martin Luther King, all sorts of people and events people will be familiar with, but to perhaps show them the event in a different way or a different lesson from each. So I think that's a very strong motivator in me writing the book.
And I know from talking to you sort of in the early stages, and one thing that really fascinates me about the book is your take on success, because you've sort of been there and done it yourself. You've done it professionally, you've done it in sport, there's lots of things you were very successful. You've also really failed along the way. I hope you don't mind me saying, but it's one of the things that it's really interesting. At school, I know that was really tough. And that sort of sense of, well, what do we mean by success, and the hollowness sometimes of chasing what we think is success, and the sort of unsustainability of that really fascinates me about your take on it as well.
Yeah, it's a great question. And the journey throughout the book kind of reaches that crescendo, and it was intimidating from a writing perspective to end it in a way that delivered on that promise, so to speak. And I hope I have. And largely where we get to on that kind of the issue of success is the nature of what we're trying to achieve in the first place. And that's actually a bigger question than it might sound. And I thought one very good guide to that place was the movie Into the Wild, where Chris McCandless takes this, adventure, and he wants to cut himself off from society and get away from everything and everybody and find himself. And in the book and in the movie, it's a really poignant story about coming to a realization of what is important about life in the first place. And he ends the book on a note: happiness is not real unless shared. And and I kind of took that a step further, that success is not real unless shared. And certainly in the world we live in, and particularly over the last 12 months, we can see that more and more, that people are getting away from that notion of sharing success, that it's become a zero-sum game. And I think if we can get back to that, at least understand what we're trying to achieve via this book and other medium, I think it's a really important message to reinforce out there in the big bad world at the moment, that whether we win or lose, if we're not doing it together to further each other as a kind of a humanitarian exercise, or kind of a growth kind of paradigm individually, well, then we have lost sight of what real success is.
And that's part of the point about complex, isn't it? It's not this sort of single point of reference. It's complex because it's complicated. It's complex because it's a formula, but it's complex also because it involves so many interrelated dimensions.
Well, complex, I kind of intended in the book to mean more of a complex about fear of heights or small spaces. So I've got a complex. I don't want to climb that big ladder. I'm afraid of it, or I've got an issue with it. What's your success complex? What's the thing you can't put your finger on that stops you getting what you want out of life? And I think the difference between this and other books is I've tried to kind of complete that circle. A lot of books have the skills you might acquire to overcome challenge, but I try to bring that a step further. How are we going to apply those in the long term to ensure that those skills are applied in a way that are sustainable and deliver for you in the long term? And also, with those two things in the bag, what do you want to achieve then in terms of direction? And then once we start to you know, and we talked about direction a few moments ago, once we start to kind of move towards the correct direction for us and as a society, then there will be new skills we identify along the way that we need to acquire on that journey. And it's got that circular motion to it, which I love. And I don't see that in a lot of other books, a lot of kind of,
the sort of linear, do this, so many steps. Yeah. No,
so there's certainly a wider kind of theme to the whole thing, and a kind of a full circle thinking behind it that I really enjoyed kind of putting together and hope to kind of do more of in the future.
And I mean, obviously you finished the book and you love it, you're proud of it. Tell me what it was like to find out that it had been shortlisted at the Business Book Awards.
Well, yeah, I suppose it was a sense of validation, because you know, you give the friends and family and colleagues to read, etc., and you know, you get positive feedback, but to put it out there for scrutiny, I suppose, to judges, etc., and then to kind of get that validation, it's really there's a gratification and kind of a relief with that it's not complete junk, you know. And also it's you know, we've a short life to live, and I think it's important to leave a message behind that really makes sense to people and hopefully can resonate with people. And it's a message that I do want to stand over and say, yeah, I do believe in that. I believe that success should be shared. It should be something that benefits others, not just ourselves. And if we can get into that holistic thinking, you know, I think the world can only be a better place.
And if you agree, if you want to find out more, the Success Complex, along with all the other books in the shortlisted, the Practical Inspiration titles that have been shortlisted, are just 99 pence or 99 cents on the Kindle store at the moment. So yeah, if that intrigues you, go and check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's all part of it. Get the message out there.
Adrian, I'm so looking forward to the 10th of September, to the awards evening. We're going to have it, whatever happens, it's going to be a fantastic night. You're going to be there, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Too right. Good. Well, in that case, I'm just going to wish you good luck for that. And thank you for your time today. And congratulations, because I'm really, really delighted that the book's been shortlisted.
Thank you, Alison. Very much appreciate that.